Hi everyone. So today I've got Natalie McCleod with me, who is a very special guest. Now, a while ago, Natalie and I sat next to each other at a ladies' breakfast, and we got into conversation about social media and raising your family tech-wise. And Natalie had such a profound impact on me that day that I just knew we had to get her into studio so me and her could have a little chat. So Nat, let's just start with like the fact that I've got so much to learn from you. How did you sort of get into this social media space of moving away from tech and moving your family away from screens?
So my green light moment was I was on forced maternity leave, so I had to take 4 weeks before my first son arrived, and I was bored. I didn't have much to do, and I found myself diving into Facebook at the time. And I knew more about other people's lives than what I did in my own life. And I met with my spiritual mom who was just guiding me through the process of becoming a mother. And she said to me a very profound statement that I've never forgotten. So for moms with boys is that I'm going to be raising someone's husbands one day and the next generation. And they are ultimately, our men are the head of the home. And what am I doing as a mother and a woman to prepare myself to raise this little boy into society? Yet I'm so consumed with other people's business. And I made a direct decision, and my husband, that we deleted ourselves off social media, and we haven't actually gone back since.
And never tempted to go and look at what people are getting up to, never tempted to...
It's hard when you have a business, because you still have to have accounts. So we have a business account to be able to access our business, and you still have to have a Facebook account to be able to link to your business profile. So there are times, but you just get so used to it because you realize, as I was preparing even for this time, there was an epiphany that came to my mind was, I may not be a perfect mother, but I'm going to choose to be a present mother.
Yes.
So in that, I realized that if you're not present in the moment, you're going to rob yourself and your children of everything that there is to life, because this robs us of the present moment. This causes us to be more focused on what everyone else is doing. And an excellent documentary that we loved, my husband and I watching, was The Social Dilemma.
Yes.
And if you see the direct link of when the like button came out, of the suicide of specifically the young girls and teenagers, the graph didn't do that. It literally did that. And for me, that was a big thing. And if I'm going to be showing my life on social media, our children mimic what we do, not what we say. So if they're going to be watching us the whole time, they're going to start putting their worth and their value in the comments and the likes, and I don't want that for my boys. I really don't. And I'm not saying social media is bad, not by any means, that you can use it, as you always teach us, for a good platform. But as the mom and the dad in the home, we're going to try and show them living in the present moment, and that their worth is not in comments and in photos. And the less you have it, the less you want it. It's like sugar. The more sugar you eat, the more addicted you get. And the more time you have on this, the more you're going to feel like you should be doing it and trapped in this whole world.
And it also feels as if there's like this cycle that keeps going. As soon as someone shares something, they almost trigger the next person to share something else about themselves, and this vicious cycle of comparison. What is your view on sharenting? Because sharenting is such a big topic, and privacy, especially with our kids, is such a big topic at the moment. So what is your view? What do you think about sharenting?
So it's a very delicate topic, because I have very close friends that are sharenters, and I know they're going to be watching this. But for me, if I look inside myself, and we made of mind, body, soul, and ego. And if you really take time and ask yourself, what is the real reason why I'm sharing this photo? Why am I showing myself on holiday? Or why am I showing my child's first day? What is the real purpose? Some people have said to me they want family and friends to see. You don't have to put on a platform. You can create you can do your WhatsApp groups just for your family. You can just share it with your friends. So you can justify anything in life. But for me, I don't want to have to portray a memory that's for myself, for the world to see and accept, because I think that's our biggest thing as mankind. Our egos tell us that we're not good enough, and we need that affirmation and validation from society, and also to be able to say, I'm doing this right, and they're relying on social media for that. But you need to come back within yourself and recognize that as long as your husband and your kids are getting your attention and you're making it right, and whatever faith system that you have, that must be your your comparison in life, not other people and comments and likes. So if you draw away from that, it's quite deep questions. I think that's a whole different discussion. But for me, I don't do sharenting. I share with the relevant people in my life on WhatsApp groups, or I don't.
You know, I watched a movie the other night that was very funny, and it was about this lady that wakes up from a coma 20 years after her matric year.
Oh yeah.
Did you watch it? Oh, it was so funny. Yes. I think it's called Senior Year.
Yes.
Senior Year.
Yes.
And it's Rebel Wilson, and she's hilarious.
Yes.
And so she wakes up and she doesn't know how technology works, and then she gets she gets given a phone, and she watches on Instagram, and she's like, oh, wait. So what this is it's a popularity contest that is with the whole world. Oh, I can do this. And I thought that was just magical, because that's actually, we sort of got desensitized to social media over a long period of time. But if you had to wake up from a coma and really look at it like that, it really is that, So do you think that social media places pressure on parents? And do you think it actually improves your parenting journey, or not at all?
I believe it has a massive negative effect on parenting, because as it is, any mom that's here will understand and know you're constantly questioning yourself. So you constantly are, am I doing this right? And we always fall short and think that we're not doing it right. Now you're putting yourself out there. Perhaps it's a question you're needing to ask, and you're going to get so many different opinions. As it is, you like one doctor, I like another doctor. So that is going to be in your journey in parenting. And so you're putting yourself out there to be exposed to the wolves of society, who's going to tell you all different things, and it's going to leave you confused, and you're going to have more pressure on a parent. Whereas if you just stepped back and put the phone aside and focus on your child and find your people that are like-minded. So when I first became a mom, we still have a moms group. There's 9 of us on that chat group, and those women were women that gathered around each other as we became mums, and any questions we needed, or we just had a bad day, we could really put it on this chat group, and it's a safe space, and they were my saving grace through becoming a mom. So I encourage those moms, especially new moms, to rather take a step back and form a group within of the people that you know and respect, because everyone's got different opinions, but it's to find the people whose opinion matter the most and who see the fruit in the person's life. I always believe that. If you don't like the fruit that's bearing in that person's life, why are you going to take advice from them?
Yes,
so take yourself out of that situation and be around the people whose fruits are positive and golden, and draw like that. So I definitely would encourage moms, especially in the beginning, because they're going to be breastfeeding their children. I've seen it. And then they've got the phone, So even as a young child, that little innocent thing is already seeing the screen in the mom's moment. Whereas if you just put that aside, that feeling.
Yes, and take it in.
And just holding that thing and stroking it and actually giving
the presence.
The present moment. Because that child, even as that young infant, will know that mom's not actually present.
Yes.
And if you're setting that precedent from such a young age, what type of relationship do you want with your child? Because it's all fine now putting them in front of the screen now, because it's easy. I'm 100% guilty of that. I'm by any means not a perfect mom, as I said in the beginning. But I see the damaging effects when I've put my children in front of a screen too long. I see it immediately. So I encourage the moms to, all you have is now in this present moment with your children, and this will feed the relationship and build the type of relationship you're going to have later on
the connection,
when they actually need you the most.
So how do you monitor screen time in your home?
With great difficulty.
Don't we all?
we try set boundaries in place. So Friday is game day. Friday is technology day, because I remember when I was in school, there was a girl in school that she was never allowed anything, and she was the odd one out in the class, and it was hard for us to see as kids. So I never want to do that to my children, where they don't know what's going on, but you have to monitor it. And it's utterly exhausting as a parent, because I was saying to my sister, I've got 3 older sisters as well. They also are very much veteran moms. And I said, on top of parenting pressure that we have now, we've got this demon inside of our home as well. So not only are we juggling marriage, life, and work and raising children, we're having to also fight against that as well.
Screen,
it's so difficult. So what we try and do is we assign a day where I know there's no homework or whatever, and they look forward to Friday game day. On the weekends, if it's bad weather, we will try and monitor it. So if it's 30 minutes or an hour, have the break, encourage them to go around the block and do something. But my biggest thing is also raising boys is they've got a lot more testosterone. So they need to release that energy somehow.
Yes, absolutely.
So
yes.
you can help me with raising girls, I don't know, but raising boys need that. And if they are too much on screens, they become frustrated, they become agitated. So we've tried to adopt a lifestyle to the point where we've even moved cities to try and encourage outdoor life as much as possible. I know it's not always easy, but expose them. If a child is never exposed to the ocean, the bush, cricket, rugby, music, whatever it is, he's never going to form a love for it. You as the parent are responsible to expose them to that, and then from there they are able to choose. But if you're choosing to just put your child in front of this the whole time, of course they're going to say they don't want to go for a run or a ride or a surf because they don't know any better.
Yeah, and this is easy.
It's so easy.
It's canned entertainment.
Yeah.
And
it's
it doesn't take any creativity.
No, and it's difficult. So I myself try and put your parameters in place. You're not going to be perfect, but children like routine. We all know that from a baby. If you start with routine, and they will try and break the rules, and they will steal it, and you'll find them under the bathroom cupboard with the phone. It's normal. But there has to be a consequence. So my son did that this week now, and he can't surf this week because he stole the phone without.
Okay.
So there is consequences in our home.
That's very important.
There really is.
I think
my children
consequences is important.
Yeah, and my children are not perfect by any means, but we've tried our utmost best to create an environment where they know they need to go outside and they love outside. And that you taught me, the children need to self-regulate it. But if, like ourselves, like we know, if we have more sugar in our diet, we're going to crave more sugar. If you give this to a child, it's a complete addiction. And I worry for what will come of this when they're older. How will they relate? How are they going to be with society if their main focus is putting their identity in the likes and the comments and seeing what other people are doing? Why did the social dilemma pick up that graph of the suicide going directly up? And I don't think parents realize the devastating effect that it has on the children.
I think a big trend that we are seeing as well is that parents try to negate discipline by handing a screen over. And also the other sad thing that I see quite often is that when they don't want to deal with a child's negative emotions,
of course, yeah.
they give the screen because it's a surefire way of, distracting the child away from the negative emotion. But the problem is that we had to actually learn how to deal with a negative emotion. If you were rejected by a group of friends, you didn't go onto TikTok and escape into TikTok for 4 hours. You had to just deal with that emotion. And so we are breeding. What does happen is that these kids do start to present with antisocial behavior, and they start to present with depression and anxiety because they are they've just not learned how to be social because they've always all conflict resolution has relied on a screen. So I agree with you. And look, my home is definitely not perfect, and my kids are hooligans, but I think it's very, very nice to see that parents are becoming more aware of the impact that screen time can have. So what benefits have you seen in your home from having a life lived close to nature, simplifying things, getting away from the screen? What benefits have you seen in your kids?
So I know directly if my children have been on screens too much, they are frustrated. They fight more with each other. The one time, it just happened in this week, it's an absolute example. They are obviously, they're little boys, so they're obsessed with Minecraft, and they watch the YouTube video on Minecraft about this. And next thing, my son comes to the dinner table and he starts cutting his finger with a bread knife. I'm like, what are you doing? No, I just want to see if I can cut my finger off with this knife.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay. And this is literally
lovely.
Directly after me being not strict enough and not putting the parenting controls that I should have. Just said, okay, I needed work. It was month end. I said, okay, just watch it for a few minutes. And it hit me like a ton of bricks where I was like, oh my word, because I was lazy in the moment, and there it was. And it's daylight, and I saw it because it's that age-old saying, is what you see is what you think, and what you think is what you feel, and what you feel is how you act.
Absolutely. So the influence is massive.
It's massive. Yes. And then again, I was like, what am I doing? So again, it's not about saying who's right and who's wrong. We're just trying to do this as best as we can and acknowledge it. And For my boys, if I take them off of screens, I try and sidetrack them with outdoor activities. So as we are very much a surfing family, so we're in the ocean all the time, surfing, riding their bikes, appreciating nature, take them camping, take them outdoors. It's not easy, but it's an effort. And that's why being a parent is a choice. The child didn't choose, you chose, or maybe some people don't choose, but it's our responsibility, and it's not their fault that they're in it. And it's up to us to give them the best canvas so that when they leave the home, that they've been exposed to healthy boundaries, because they're going to have this even as adults.
Yes.
And I'm sure they're going to be on social media. But if we even instill the tools to be able to, you taught me that, to follow the people of positive influence. And so that if they have that, and they don't have to be putting photos on there, they can still be on social media, but they don't have to put a photo on, or everybody's documenting their lives and photos, and it's, it's just how you think it should be. But if you step back, it's like, why are you actually doing that deep down?
I think you've got an incredible ability to see long term. I think many parents, myself included, if you don't have older kids, you sort of just parenting for that age that they are now. So if it's an 8-year-old, you're parenting for 8 years of age.
Yeah.
But many parents don't realize how quickly the time goes. And so we've got a first year at varsity now. And she said to me the other day, the hardest thing about being a first year at varsity is that all your lectures are online. So the temptation,
of course,
to go onto social media when you should be doing your lectures or you should be studying is massive.
Yeah.
And if we can instill, at 5 years of age, if you are already instilling the boundaries of, okay, you've had enough time now, choose to do something else. What would you like to do? You can go outside and ride your bike. You can learn to do that skateboard trick. You can, teach the dogs how to jump through a hoop or whatever. Whatever it is, giving them the alternative so that they know when to power off and when to quit the game and when to do something else. Because, later on in life, those are skills that you're going to need if you're going to go and study on or whatever you do in a work situation. Like the distraction in a work situation is also massive. Okay, so one more question. I was wondering if you could whisper one piece of advice into the ear of a new parent. What would your advice be to that new parent?
Yes, there's so many, but I think the biggest one is all you have is this moment now. So take this moment in with your child and be present in this moment. The few times that I do go onto social media or scroll over, you see so many moms having to put everything out there, right from what their babies wear to they're doing this and then they're doing that. And I'm saying, by you taking the photo and even taking the time to upload it, you've lost 5 minutes of that child's time that you had with your moment with your child. And having lost a family member quite suddenly 5 years ago, you realize that this moment is not, you don't know when you're going to have this moment again, or if they're not going to be there tomorrow. So make this moment count and put that away, no matter how hard it is, and focus on these little moments, because as you said, they're going to be gone so quickly. And I came from a broken home where, unfortunately, I love my parents dearly, but they didn't really make many moments count. And I see what it does to an adult and a child's relationship with their parents. And sometimes it's a good thing to walk a hard road in life, because then you realize what you don't want possibly in your family or marriage. And I would like for my children to come back and stay, no matter where we are in the world, that we can stay as a unit and a happy unit, and that they know they can come back. And if I've raised my child with that, that's all they're going to know. And there's going to be a distance between myself and my child. And as you said, when there's problems, they're not going to face their own emotions. And that's going to come up in other ways in your life, in your marriage, in your work, because you're going to have unresolved issues from childhood that you haven't dealt with because your parents just gave you this the whole time to keep you quiet and keep you occupied. And that's unfortunately we've seen with the statistics and the documentaries, that's where the addiction comes in. That's where self-hate, sabotage, possible suicide, those are all linked if we go back to the root of where that all happened. So for me, it's just, take this moment in with your child and be present in the moment. and don't have to always take the photo, because sometimes we know the photo robs you of the actual moment. Like often my husband wants me to film my son surfing, and I'm like, I don't want to, because then I'm watching him through a video. I actually just love watching him free in the ocean, but I understand he's wanting to see his son, but I even know myself, just looking through the screen, I'm not in the moment, just on the beach watching, listening.
Yes.
And then if you're already addicted to social media, you are thinking of the next thing. Okay, how many must I post? Have I edited it properly? What are people going to say? And you're waiting in anticipation for the likes and the comments. And again, where's my worth? Is my value and my worth in that moment in social media, or is it actually just sitting on the beach and watching my son surf and just taking it in and being still? Yes. And for me, to be still is also another thing. We're not still enough as human beings. We're just busy, and we can't hear the whispers of whichever guidance we are trusting from to guide us in life, because when we're so busy, how do you know this is actually what I want to do in life or what I don't want to do in life? Because you're so rush.
Yes.
This. It takes away that it robs you of that time to be still. So if you're not with your child, try and be still.
I think being present is so important. I oftentimes think that when I'm on the beach myself and I'm filming, I can't feel the sand under my feet.
You can't. No.
Because you're not mindful, and you don't smell a thing when you've got this, and you don't hear a thing when you're looking through this. So I often say to the teenagers we work with to, go and be mindful, use your senses and actually experience the moment instead of trying so desperately to share it. I think about myself. I've got a photo album of my entire childhood, entire 18 years of childhood, and I think I've got about... No, I think there's maybe 25 photos in it.
Yeah.
And I know that I had a good childhood. I didn't need my parents to capture every single moment of that childhood for it to matter and for me to know that it was good and they were there, with me, and I can remember it being good. So, So thank you so much, Nat. I think that was incredibly insightful, and I'm so grateful for you being here. And ever since we spoke, I just knew we had such synergy, and it was so refreshing to meet someone who had such a different perspective without having, someone who just sort of realized the impact and just made a strong decision and stuck to that decision. I admire you for that.
And thanks for all you do, Esty.
Thank you. Okay, thank you everyone for listening today. And if you want to get in touch with Screen Smarts, please shout out, give us an email, send us a direct message. And maybe you could be the next person that we interview. Keep well.